we're going to go ahead and get started to be timely with everyone's time. We have introduced this series, the Tech Talk series, just to be a quick 30-minute live and partially interactive tech talk during your lunch hour. So to introduce us, Fractional Talent Network is a community of senior technology and business executives who collaborate to leverage their collective strengths to provide a more innovative and effective solution to our clients' challenges. We connect companies with top talent through flexible advisory and project-based services, helping them redesign, adapt, integrate, upgrade, and automate technology to enhance business operations, drive growth, scale efficiently, increase profitability, and leverage AI for workflow automation. We're really excited to introduce our Tech Talk series, a short series of insightful sessions on industry-relevant topics. It's a 3-part series, and today is our second of the 3 December Tech Talks. So December 3rd, 10th, and 17th. If you missed last week's Tech Talk, we will have that video live shortly on our YouTube channel to catch that recording. And we always are going to be interviewing 2 of our fractional talent experts as we discuss common challenges that are faced by our clients and share their expert advice. So today's Tech Talk experts are Kendra Whitney and John Daly, speaking on creating sustainable operations automation using RPA. Kendra is an operational excellence consultant. She specializes in transformational organizational change and bringing an organization's vision to life. With 2 decades of industry experience in strategy, change management, process improvement, and project management, she's adept at spearheading initiatives to streamline workflows, boost efficiencies, and enhance team collaboration. And John is a finance and tech executive who excels in simplifying and redesigning operational processes. He's an experienced CIO who has a strong financial and risk management background, along with technical and operational management experience. He has expert skills in financial process simplification and redesign using RPA and database technologies. So with that, I would like to introduce Kendra and John for our Tech Talk.
Thanks, Kate. So today, John and I are going to be diving into a topic that can absolutely transform your how your business operates. Robotic process automation, and in the industry, it's referred to as RPA. So that's what that means. And if your company struggles with messy manual processes, inefficient workflows, data integrity issues, this conversation is for you. So welcome.
Yeah, that's right, Kendra. And RPA is more than just technology. It's really a partnership with the business team that helps businesses scale and builds a solid foundation for future enhancements, including AI. It's like laying down tracks for your operations so that you can move faster, smoother, and with fewer derailments.
Yeah. And while John is going to be talking about the strategy and the technical side of RPA, I'll focus on the people side and how to manage change, communications, communicate effectively, and ensure that adoption within your organization. So, John, let's start at the beginning and describe how an RPA fits with a whole digital strategy.
Yeah, so the automation digital roadmap, it often starts slow, but it's like the old saying, walk before you run. And each level builds on the prior steps. And there are really 4 steps. It starts with departmental RPA. Think of this as the first step. Individual teams are doing their best to implement new tools. Automations replace repetitive manual tasks and harmonize routine processes. Typically, these are what's called attended processes. Tool sets at this point can be solid, but are often extremely varied and can lead to efforts that are not really sustainable. The second step is enterprise RPA, and here's where the IT organization is fully on board. Automations transition to bots. The bots are more advanced. They potentially integrate across systems. Unattended bots can trigger events and are even self-correcting in some cases. The change management challenges are great, but also the odds of success go way up at this stage. The next 2 have to do with varying levels of AI The third step is cognitive, and this is where technology supports humans by suggesting or helping select outcomes. Examples of cognitive automation are providing data analysis or insights, using natural language to summarize documents, or using computer vision to identify or track individuals, things like that, where the whole process isn't controlled, but humans are assisted in parts of the process by the kind of AI type automation. And the fourth step is full AI. AI takes the reins, analyzing data, making decisions autonomously, but obviously with human acceptance of results. Now, if you joined us last week, on December 3rd, we had a discussion about how to build your AI governance board by Scott Gerard, PhD, and Rami Khan. For businesses that use AI, implementing solid controls really is key. And at every level, the automation digital roadmap is about freeing up employees to focus on higher value work, reducing errors, and speeding up processes.
Yeah, I love that. So RPA is that solid foundation to build a longer term digital strategy. So, John, what kind of processes are best suited for RPA?
Yeah, that's a great question. RPA is not the answer to all problems, but it works best with processes that have the following kind of characteristics: rule-based, inputs are clear, outputs are clear, rules are clear and consistent, well-defined on how information should be processed. A lot of if-thens without a lot of fuzzy or judgment kind of logic. So rule-based processes are the first. A high volume, and that could be volume of information or volume of steps or tasks, especially simple tasks that are repeated many times, ideal candidates for RPA. Tasks that are time consuming, takes a lot of people time, people labor. Tasks that are prone to human error, things like copying and pasting and aggregating, data entry, potentially aggregating spreadsheets. Those are things that it's easy to make a mistake. And RPA, again, does those well. Things that are cross-functional, moving information from one system to another, that's a good candidate for RPA. And things that are cross-source, such that that's sort of the next step of cross-functional. It's not within your company. Cross-source is where you might get information from multiple vendors, and all that information needs to be pulled together and processed together. An example, RPA is fantastic for automating complex processes where data needs to be downloaded from diverse sources. Let's say you download it, then you route the data to different folders based on the name or contents of the information, and then you have to load it into a system. Processes like this can be tedious for us humans, but RPA excels at repetition and consistency.
Yeah, that all makes really good sense on what would be the right processes. So now let's talk about that journey. What steps should a company follow to build that a successful and sustainable RPA strategy?
Yeah, so to make RPA sustainable, it's one individual at a desk trying to solve a problem is really not the best approach. Getting a team, doesn't have to be a huge team, could be a fairly small team involved, can really help. So the steps, there's 8 steps, and I'll go ahead and just go through them. The first step is initial tool set and approach. Choosing the right tools for the job and your team's technical capabilities is critical. If you have a process in Excel, you don't necessarily want to just use Excel macros. You want to think about what the right tool is, what's going to be sustainable, scalable, and easy for someone to inherit beyond the person that currently runs the process. When you choose those tools, it really is critical to get the IT support team on board with the tool set as early as possible. The next step is education and proof of concept. Start small, use pilot projects to showcase potential and build confidence, try to get people behind you. Identify, talk to people about opportunities and find ways to prioritize those opportunities. Focus on high impact areas where you can save the most time, money, or reduce errors that people are making. And then implement the high value projects. Projects that make a big difference will gain most support. Roll out solutions incrementally. Each build wins momentum. The next step, is confirm the value proposition. After you put the RPA in place, measure your return on that investment. How much time have you saved? Cost have you reduced? Errors, how many errors are you preventing? Then 3 more steps. Next is change management and buy-in. Engage teams early. The more employees understand and the more they see value, the smoother the adoption will be. This buy-in extends to third parties and data sources, and sometimes getting the buy-in of third parties, especially vendors that provide information to you, is critical to the long-term success of the project.
Mm.
The next step is IT support. Get ICT support and redesign processes. Bots should harmonize with existing systems, not disrupt them. And make sure you don't just implement a process as it is, and that you review it and say, is it, try to optimize the process first, and then implement the optimized process in automation. And the next step is build, test, and roll out. Create a clear path from development to production with thorough user acceptance and testing along the way. While these steps outline the what of RPA, a common understanding of the why and the how often determines success. And that brings us to change management, which plays a critical role in avoiding common pitfalls. And Kendra, can you share how change management frameworks help organizations navigate these complex steps?
Yeah. Thanks, John. So change management is absolutely critical, as you can imagine, and especially as John was describing, going from that departmental level to an enterprise level, and making sure that that's a cohesive enterprise-wide strategy. So there's a lot of different change management models and methodologies out there. The one that I love to use the most is the ADKAR model, and this is from ProSci. And ADKAR stands for awareness, desire, knowledge, ability, and reinforcement. So your change management plan should address each one of those categories, making sure that you've got specific actions and plans in place to address each one of those. So we're talking about ensuring everyone understands the why the change is happening, what's the goal, and what's at stake if we don't adopt. Creating motivation to participate, so getting those key stakeholders engaged and empowered early. This helps reduce that fear and skepticism and resistance because they've been engaged in the decision-making process. Ensuring teams have the tools and the skills and the training that they need to succeed. And then, providing the resources and the support mechanisms to help them apply that new knowledge effectively in their day-to-day work. And then lastly, that reinforcement, sustaining the change by celebrating wins and addressing feedback and embedding the new processes into the organization's culture. So each of these elements is critical when we're scaling that RPA across an organization. A departmental RPA effort may succeed with limited involvement because it's just a small team dealing with it, but scaling to that enterprise-wide strategy and making sure that it stays aligned with your broader digital roadmap, that requires that deliberate change management.
Yeah, that's a great point, Kendra. Moving from the departmental pilot to enterprise-wide is often where organizations stumble. Without change management, it's easy for silos to form, governance to completely break down, and adoption to falter.
Yeah. So let's talk about those risks, and we'll talk about how change management can help mitigate them.
So RPA projects do have a lot of risks. Additionally, as the saying goes, anything that can do great harm, anything that can do great good can also do great harm. And we'll highlight 5 of the most common RPA risks that we see. The first is poor process validation. Again, automating a bad process just makes bad things happen faster, right? Redesigns are often necessary, but always need to be accepted by the business team and harmonized with their processes.
Yeah. And this is where that collaboration is really key. First talking about the why the redesign is necessary, and that collaboration among the key stakeholders helps the team feel engaged and empowered. And that makes accepting the new process that much easier if they've been part of it from the beginning.
Yeah, so true, Kendra. The second risk is a lack of governance. Without clear rules, bots can break or disrupt workflows.
Right. And change management can help here by documenting and communicating who owns what and how the processes are maintained. So then there should be a plan for those regular updates and communication to keep everyone accountable and aware of their roles in governance.
Thanks, Kendra. The third risk is one that's easy to overlook if you're new to RPAs, and this is the lack of third-party approvals. If you are downloading from a website, you need to comply with their acceptable use agreements for the login ID you're using. This is an initial responsibility and an ongoing responsibility also. The login must be authorized to be used with a bot, i.e. not a real person. And finally, any click-throughs or acceptable use real-time attestations must be agreed to by the responsible individuals. Human users must ensure that the site is being used in the way that the site owner mandates. Bots can't agree to contracts. Treating real-time attestations as click-throughs is a key compliance mistake. And just to be clear as to what that is, that's when all of a sudden something pops up and it has a new requirement on the person using the system.
Yeah, this could very easily be overlooked, but it's a crucial mistake if not addressed properly. So one way that change management can help mitigate this is by involving those key stakeholders like legal and IT teams really early in the process. A change management plan can also include then any of that necessary training that might be needed to keep these policies and the responsibilities top of mind for both the developers and users, making sure they're always thinking about this.
Thanks again, Kendra. Two more risks. Lack of guardrails is another. For example, allowing bots to delete information without adequate checks. We may want to allow bots to add information, but not delete. But then, not delete. There needs to be some way to make sure that the bot doesn't go beyond its scope or destroy information or otherwise create chaos.
Yeah, ouch. Like that can be really bad, right? So change management can help here by supporting a really robust testing plan before going live, making sure that there's good representation from all the areas of the business that may be impacted. So we can really test through and make sure we've got a good understanding of that there's not going to be any sort of unintended consequences down the stream.
And the last risk, and it very commonly is employee resistance for various reasons, fear of technology failures, fear of job loss, or just regular fear of change. All of that can derail the implementation.
Yeah. And in order to address all of those, which is big and can be complicated, that's why you do really need a very robust change management plan that should help alleviate these fears with good stakeholder engagement, involvement, and collaboration, plenty of communication, plenty of training wherever it's needed, and powerful success stories really help here as well. So, John, do you have a good success story to share?
Coincidentally, I do. We had a success story where a client was delighted by an automation we implemented for her. We did a project for an individual that was manually aggregating numerous spreadsheets. Her process was unsatisfying, to say the least. The steps were, and I'll go through them in detail, to open a detailed spreadsheet, copy its contents into an aggregate spreadsheet, close the detailed spreadsheet, then rinse and repeat until all of the spreadsheets were summarized, and there were numerous of them. We gave her a process that allowed her to define the input and output folders, then start the automation, which did all of the aggregations automatically. The first time she ran it, she asked, is it done that fast? And when she checked the results, she actually laughed hysterically. So you won't always get this response, but it shows that one of the end results of automation should really be to make your team's lives better. And as Kendra said, telling these stories makes buying a lot easier for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Thanks, John.
Sure. Thank you, Kate.
Yeah, I love when you can delight a customer, right? When they might be doing something that's manual and you're showing them how you can do it so fast and save sometimes days, right? Not even just hours or minutes, right? Some of this automation is taking what was a manual process that took up, payroll processing or in this case, aggregating data in a bunch of different Excel spreadsheets could take days. So that's great. That's great. So AI and RPA doesn't have to be scary. It can have a positive, impactful experience for end users that embrace it. And thank you both for sharing some great stories, some tips, some recommendations of how companies can really boost operational efficiencies by leveraging automation and technology, and ensure successful adoption following some change management strategies. If these questions of how your organization can automate some manual, tedious processes by leveraging RPA or automation to boost operational efficiencies and worker productivity, as well as increasing profitability, right? Let's talk about where you can get started and where you should get started. So we invite you to reach out to one of us here at Fractional Talent and ask us for some help. We provide flexible service arrangements from advisory to project-based consulting services to meet you where you're at within your organization, depending on your organization's resource and budget constraints. And we'd love to explore how we can enable your business. So connect with us and learn more about how we can help you build sustainable operations. You can follow us on LinkedIn. We have a YouTube channel, and our website is fractionaltalent.io.